To kick this off for us is our Chief Marketing Officer, Luke Anderson. Welcome, Luke.
Thank you. We'll use the mic. Awesome. Good morning, everyone. Happy Friday. We have some weather coming in this afternoon. I think you're all aware, so be safe. But we also have tacos coming in this afternoon, so I feel like those two forces of nature will find some sort of equilibrium. I am thrilled to be here to kind of kick off and provide a pretty brief introduction to this, I believe, second Meg said Top 10 Talks. When I glanced at the topics today, and first I should actually start with a thank you to Michael, talent management team, the committee that puts these together, Meg, your leadership for this event, and most importantly to our speakers for not only submitting ideas but agreeing to be here this morning. So thank you. How about a round of applause to kick things off for them? So I glanced at our topics this morning and I was struck, and call me biased, but struck that there was really a theme that united them. And to me that theme, again, I'm a communicator, so it's where I naturally go to, but is storytelling. In its many forms. So crafting a narrative to elicit a response. It's one of the most basic tenets of human behavior. So we'll hear from Heather and Elizabeth talking about Giving Day, an extraordinary signature event that forever changed the face of alumni giving at this institution, and the story of what that event, how that event came to be. We'll hear from Sterling, personal story of leadership and how we can derive from our own personal journeys some life lessons that might be applicable to others in their journeys. We'll hear from Ayana, the story of a generation, which I am particularly excited about, technically a millennial. And I love hearing about millennials because every time I do, I'm struck by how unmillennial-like I tend to act. And maybe, in and of itself, that was a very millennial-style comment just then. But then finally, Matt and Elizabeth, and literal storytelling and the power of the written word to help elicit those reactions. So take all those together, and we really are going to start to get the story of this organization, advancement as an organization, but then even at a higher level, the story of the University of Florida. And so for introduction today, what I wanted to do is really think about the title of this program, Top 10 Talks. And I think, Michael, we're probably going to need to think about Top 5 Talks, as much as I love alliteration, top 5 Talks in the future. And so for that introduction, I really wanted to start with what I think is a fundamental question, and that question is why? Why is Giving Day important for UF? Why is leadership important for UF? Why is understanding changes in our industry important for UF? And why is storytelling important for UF? And take that and apply it to Top 5, and you get a really, really fundamental question that I've been working with Tom and the Provost and others to try and answer, which is why Top 5? What does it mean for UF to be a top 5 institution, and why is that important? And so I wanted to take just a few minutes to give you some, probably what are pretty early thoughts about how we're going to begin to answer that question so that everyone across our organization, across this institution, can carry that message with us. And it takes place on 3 levels. The first one that I want to talk about is reputation. And I'm curious, because everyone has their own definition of reputation. Anyone care to venture what their definition of reputation is? I won't call anybody, but who wants to take a stab at it? Yeah. I like to think about it most simply as what others say when you're not in the room, right? That's reputation. And for UF, it's interesting. We often get UF, oh yeah, that's that one down in Tallahassee, right? Or we'll get UF, yeah, Tebow, go Gators, got it. Or you'll get UF, that's a great school, which is kind of more where we're headed lately. Reputation for me really evolves around 2 key audience groups, the first of which is our students. And as a top 5 institution, and once we are a top 5 institution, on our journey to get there, it's going to become increasingly important that we recruit to UF the best and brightest students from around our state, but also our country and our world. That has ramifications for us as a fundraising industry. Those students are going to need scholarships, both need-based and merit-based. We're going to start having increasingly complex and tough conversations with our alums whose children, whose grandchildren, nieces, nephews, and friends perhaps are no longer going to measure up to the standard that we're putting forth at UF. And so why top 10, or why top 5? Because getting those students here means that we will continue to increase our reputation by the people we surround ourselves with. Second group makes that doubly important, our faculty. Recruiting the world's leading faculty to UF will put us on the map, both literatively and figuratively. And so take those two groups together in the work that they will create together. Interactions between faculty and students is how we're going to solve some of these moonshot ideas, how we're going to solve some of our grand challenges. So that's number one, is reputation as seen by the people that inhabit this campus and the work that they do. Number two that I think about is investment. And here my mind goes immediately to some of those federal funding agencies that are providing approaching $1 billion in grant money to UF researchers. But not just funding agencies, it's also our state government. The support that we get from the state of Florida is absolutely extraordinary. And then finally, and we know this all too well, philanthropists who tend to invest in momentum, and when they see momentum, they want to get on that boat and join that rising tide. So take those together. Why top 5? Because on our way to top 5, to get there, we're going to need increased investments from all of those. We're going to need investments from federal funding agencies to put us over $1 billion in research. We're going to need more investment from our state, and we're going to need more investment from our supporters across the country and world. Last one I want to talk about really is impact. How many people were here when UF became a top 10 school, by show of hands? So most, but not all. Think about what you felt when you heard that news, what that felt like. And think about what our alums felt like, and how that news settled in, and how we immediately said, that's great, that's awesome, we're top 10, now we want to be top 5. So when I think about impact, I think about just pride, first and foremost, the pride of being a Gator, and what that news, when we knock off the Tar Heels and become top 5, what that news will mean for UF. But also economic impact. The economic impact of this institution is absolutely immense. And it's not just here in Gainesville, it's not just Central Florida. We have a presence in every county. It's around our state, and this state is the nation's 4th largest economy, so it really is a bellwether for our nation. And it starts here at UF. So impact and pride there. Take all of those together, and we're beginning to piece a picture of why it's important that we not only try for top 5, but become top 5. And so I want to go back to that thought I had a second ago, is imagine what it felt like when we reached top 10, and now imagine what it'll feel like when we reach top 5. That's what this event is about today. It's learning from each other, not only that and passing on that wisdom, but it's also what the world can learn from us as individuals, as an organization, but also as an entire university. So one more round of applause for our speakers, and I believe, Meg, I'm going to hand it back to you.